Ms. Fitzgerald, I want to thank you for making your point on your position on irradiating the public. And I also want to bring to all of your attention what is at stake. You know, the WISO bill was about as draconian as you can get, and it was really an attack on all of our rights to say no to technology that has not been tested for effects on human beings. I'm talking about the deployment of millimeter wave technology. These frequencies that are going to comprise the networks of microcell systems, those systems that you tried to have Mr. Domer have full reign over but unfortunately pulled from the last meeting agenda, have not been tested for effects on people or on wildlife. I'm going to talk about something tonight that I've never talked about publicly before, and I'm going to talk about it right now. The technology that's coming is going to be broadcasting at 60 gigahertz. That is the absorption spectrum of oxygen molecules. There are instances where 60 gigahertz systems have been deployed in the United States, and it is a weaponized system. You don't mess with oxygen molecules. 30 days without food, you're going to be really skinny and probably dead. 3 days without water, you know what happens. A very short amount of time without air, and it's lights out meatball for all metabolic processes in a human body and all other life forms as we know them. What happens at the molecular level when you have oxygen molecules being hit with radio frequency emissions at 60 gigahertz, which you think is fine, and you don't understand what this stuff does, and I'm glad you're going to be recusing yourself from all the votes, is it affects the orbital properties of the electrons and the hemoglobin's ability to bind the oxygen molecules. This is horrific and frightening, and health decisions are being made for masses of people by elected lackey bureaucrats that thumb their noses at warnings and believe the lies that come from the scientific apparatus that is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the wireless industry. I pray for Mr. Domer that he exercises wisdom in the days ahead, because the tremendous responsibility that is almost passed off on him was one I would not want.
So one of the biggest issues with 5G is the fact that it's going into the gigahertz frequency ranges that are, it goes from, I think it's 5 gigahertz to 100 gigahertz, where the mobile towers, the mobile phones, wireless, internet, etc. is below that. And the military industrial complex, they have, produced more than 8,500 different documents where they are basically patented specific frequencies at specific pulse ranges with all kinds of, it's the military, with all kinds of effects of, going everywhere from killing people to putting voices in their heads and they think they're talking to God, to the devil come in and talk to them in their heads, to crowd control, mind control, manipulations, causing cancer within a human being in human tissue like this, infertility, all that stuff. It's all been patented by the military. These frequencies are well known. The scary part about 5G is that 5G is within the frequency bandwidth of all those patents. So basically, if you're living in a city that has 5G, antennas everywhere, who is stopping them from transmitting these frequencies to targeted individuals or to the whole city? So, we hear about cyber attacks all the time. And what is to say that, for example, another country hacks into the 5G network system and suddenly want to influence a whole city of millions of people and they go crazy and etc. Now, the other thing with 5G, with the higher frequencies, is if you look at a piano, you actually have the same octave within the piano, it goes up in several levels. So from one octave to another octave to another octave to another octave. What happens with the octaves in microwave radiation is the best way I can describe it is like if you take a tone, an opera singer that sings to this wine glass. If they can sing in a specific tone and makes it vibrate at a certain level, then after some time, a couple of minutes, it breaks. Now, the same octave higher, the glass will break too, but faster. The same octave higher and higher and higher. And so if you go up in really high octaves, the glass will break almost instantly. The problem with 5G is that it's many octaves higher than the wireless radiation we're having right now, the mobile phone towers, etc. So the disease is that it's completely verified now that EMF radiation from mobile towers, etc., takes about 5 years to kick in. After 5 years, people have all kinds of cancers and all kinds of problems. With 5G, it's going to take 5 months. We're going to die much faster from this. So we're going to see a huge health crisis in the Western world beyond what we have seen so far with the 5G antennas. And of course they're not going to tell you about this, because this is a part of the whole agenda of mass control and depopulation agendas.
And everyone that stops here at this signal is being absolutely irradiated with microwave frequencies. There's also another stealthily disguised palm tree right across the street behind this Shell gas station in a shopping mall. So there are 3 massive towers within a short distance of one another. And the pulsations of radiation and the location of these towers are going to take out all of the inhabitants that work here at these businesses, as well as the adjacent townhome project that is right behind the 2 cell phone towers that are located within about 20 feet apart. We're getting ready to make the turn now, and this will illustrate how the frequencies will be heard again on our frequency analyzer. And you can see both of the cell phone towers right now. These are being deployed all over the nation. This is a silent weapons, quiet wars system using frequencies instead of bullets. Make absolutely no mistake. The intention of a silent weapons system is to reduce the vitality of the people and to make the people ill. And many of the associated illnesses that people have been complaining about and have been experiencing from the smart meters is exactly what people are feeling from these cell phone towers. This is a wireless dog fence around our nation. These cell phone towers are